Here's my review on Logan. And yes, finally. You know, when I started doing movie reviews on here and the start of Cinema Fans, I always asked myself, why haven't I not done a review on Logan, my #1 favorite comic book film of all time? I would argue there is some contenders for best movie of all time, but like as a comic book film genre or just comic book films in general, this is my #1. This tops everything else, and it'll probably stay there forever. Like, I absolutely love this film from top to bottom. Everything about this film, from the first, second, and third act, every actor, actress, everything about this film I absolutely love. I love the comic adaptation, Old Man Logan. It's not like the movie, but it takes the idea of basically an old, Logan. Kind of not a post-apocalyptic world, but in a way, in his world, it is post-apocalyptic because there really isn't any mutants left besides the New Mutants, which I'll save that for another film that's coming along here soon, so I'm not going to talk about that. Before I talk about anything about Hugh Jackman or Patrick Stewart, let's talk about Daphne King. She was a wonderful actress in this film. She did a great job with such a big heavy film that's so sad and dramatic and depressing, and she was able to bring such nuance to her character and such heaviness to her character without really saying much, but only showing her emotions through her face and her actions, from the funny moments to her messing around at the gas station, to that moment with her and Logan, that moment where she starts kind of like the pulp on Logan, because Logan's kind of like in this weird place, and when she takes over driving, and it just, that moment, that the way she was able to express what the character's trying to convey to Logan, it was such a beautiful moment, and just a great job by her acting alone. And she was a young actress at the time. No one really knew about her until this film. Granted, she had other work she's done before this film, but she really shined in this film. I mean, what can I say that has not already been said about Patrick Stewart as Professor X? From X-Men 2, X-Men 3, his cameo and the Wolverine, and also X-Men Origins, but we don't talk about that. And then also Days of Future Past, one of my I love that film from the heart and soul and mind. I love that film. And speaking of Days of Future Past, one of my favorite moments in the film is where you have Charles Xavier talking to his younger self, trying to convince his younger self not to give up, and not to give up on his basically his mission, humans and mutants coexisting in peace and harmony. And the monologue he gives in that scene is so powerful, and it just, one of my favorite moments by Patrick Stewart playing Professor X, Charles Xavier. But besides that performance, his performance in Logan is just top-notch, and one of my favorites that tops above Days of Future Past and what he did in that film. Because the way, we see him in the beginning of the film start to deteriorate with his powers in his mind, and they kind of crumble along what happened to the X-Men and the mutants, and we kind of still don't get a clear picture, even though I think the director cleared that up, what happened, I think. I haven't done a deep dive to Logan and all those events in a while. But the whole relationship between Logan and Professor X is so interesting, and honestly, it kind of makes you think that if you really think about it, Charles Xavier, kind of represents Logan's soft side, his heart and his humanity. Even though we see it all the time throughout the films, especially in, the original trilogy, and honestly in the second Wolverine film. But I love the fact that we see in this film that Wolverine has this whole image of he's an animal, he's a tough guy, tough to the bone, tough tooth and nail, you know, never shows any soft side, always, you know, kind of really miserable, but really deep down, you know, and he kind of learns himself that, you know, he is a soft-hearted human being, just like Professor X and his technically daughter X-23. You know, he learns to appreciate the little things. One of the last lessons that Charles tries to teach Logan is that, you know, the moments where you have, you know, a random family that you just helped, you know, bring the horses into the trailer thing, and then, you know, sitting down, having a family dinner with your daughter and also your mentor slash father, with these people that you just helped, that shown nothing but love and care and welcoming, you know, family, you know, hospitality, you know, it's like, not hostility, but like showing love and care. Like this whole moment, you know, him telling Logan, like, this is what's important, this is what matters. And, you know, really, if you think about that, that's what that with the X-Men and his family, with the X-Men, and how he's very protective of the X-Men. And it really speaks to the character of Wolverine and, you know, his character in the comics. Because, you know, yes, and even in the X-Men animated series, like, he can put on this, you know, grizzly bear, you know, animal, you know, like he's a tough guy. But deep down, like, when it comes to his family, like, he's very soft and lovable, and, you know, cares about his family and willing to protect his family. And we really see that, really, and it's kind of drilled home in this film, is that that's who this character is. He's a hero. Yeah, does he have a very miserable past? Does he have a very miserable time throughout his life? Very tragic. He's a very tragic character. But at the end of the day, he is a hero, you know. And I think that's something they're going to kind of tap into in Deadpool and Wolverine, but I'm gonna save that for that review when the movie drops. But, you know, I love this film, man. And Hugh Jackman, he kills it. I mean, come on, bro. Like, every single time he shows up as Wolverine, Logan, he nails it. And I think, you know, and it's funny because, you know, when they first casted him as Wolverine, like, nobody was down for it. But now, years later, like, we're claiming at the bits to see, you know, him play Wolverine one more time. And now in Deadpool Wolverine, it's fascinating, and I love it. But, you know, the whole idea of aging and, you know, getting older, and, you know, we get slower and we start to deteriorate, but we still try not to give up on what matters and the small little things that matter most. And, you know, like X-23, even though we grow older and times either become worse or better, we still don't try to give up on what matters. And I think that's the message from not just Logan, but also Days of Future Past, that's carried over to Logan. But either way, you know what makes this film so successful? They took a page out of the MCU playbook, Kevin Feige's playbook. They make all the film, or at least for the Infinity Saga, most of those films were built on a genre film. Each film had a genre, you know, like, you know, Spider-Man Homecoming was more of a coming of age high school film. You know, Ant-Man was a heist film. The Avengers was a team up film. You know, it's those types of genres that help build these films into what they are. And also, I love the fact that Logan feels like something Martin Scorsese would do. And it honestly, it feels like he directed this film, even though, granted, he didn't. But, you know, either way, I would give this film a 10 out of 10. I stand on that, and, you know, I stand on business. Tell me what you liked about this film or disliked about this film. What would you rate it? Tell me your review, all the great stuff in the comments. Like this video and follow for more. Cinema and Fans out. Peace.